Good evening, folks. It's time for another Friday night chat. I've been missing them. It's been because I've been sick. I had a sinus and respiratory infection. Yes, I treated it with herbs. Then the next week I had some kidney stones, and I feel like I've probably got a urinary tract infection, but I'm on the downslope of it now. I've passed several large kidney stones, and things are starting to get back to normal. I'll share this with you. The biggest aid to me on the kidney stones and the UTI infection was the goldenrod tea. I made that and drank it for 3 or 4 days straight. It soothes. And I added coconut oil to it so that way that coats the intestinal lining, but also your urethra, where your urine comes out. And so that made it easier for me to pass the kidney stones. But that goldenrod is no joke. It really aided me a lot in getting past this urinary infection. And I've still got a little ways to go, but I was proud that I didn't go to the doctor and I dealt with it myself even when it was painful. But so for almost 3 weeks now, I've had a few illnesses. I've treated them with herbs, and I feel good about that. I chewed a lot of usnea. The usnea is an antibiotic and it's an antiviral, so I've been eating a lot of that. I've been careful about my diet. One of the things about urinary infections is that a lot of times our diet does affect it. Now, I don't know why this happened. I've never had them before. Could be my age, but there are some foods that will bring about kidney stones. It just kind of sets you up for that, or for urinary tract infections. Also, when I'm at work, I don't get to pee but twice in 8 hours. That doesn't help. It's just simply part of the security job. So, I'm sorry, that was probably too much information. I apologize. So, outside of that, I did run over a timber rattlesnake. My nephew was with me. Putting our heads together, we did kill it. Now, that's against the law, but once you run over one, well, what are you going to do? Leave it there to suffer? So, we did cut the head off. I put it in a bucket in the back of my car, and we did process it. We skinned it and cleaned the guts out, and then he chopped them up into steaks, and we got 5 pounds of snake meat out of that. Now, for some reason, timber rattlers have been plentiful this year. Now, normally they're not very plentiful, but my sister found 2 in a flower bed that is right outside her house. This is just the nature of living in the country. And yeah, the dogs barked at it and they went on about their business. So and that's what you normally do. You let critters go on about their business. However, like I said, this was just, I thought it was a stick in the road and ran over it, and it was the snake. So that was adventurous. We saved every part of it and utilized every part of it, well, except for the guts. You don't do that. And cleaned it, processed it, just did what we were supposed to do as stewards of the earth. Now, segue into still working on things for the wedding. The wedding is the last week of September, and my daughter is a procrastinator, bless her little heart, and she will probably wait until the last week to really get things done. But we've been doing some things, trying to prepare her home and the yard and the barn for the wedding. So that's been going on. Also, I guess I kind of overdid it early in the summer, the foraging. I was every day, going out as soon as I got home from work. And then going out and then for 2 or 3 hours foraging and then processing what I found. And I am proud of that, but it wore me down. These wild lettuce plants are quite heavy when you go into preparing them, pulling the leaves off, cutting them up, not boiling them, but cooking them, simmering them, and then processing them and putting them into bottles. That did kind of take a toll on me. So I slacked off on that, but without getting to be out in nature, I get quite depressed. Nature is about the only thing that saves me out of depression. And so in the last week, the weather has gotten milder, the humidity's lower. It looks like we will actually have a fall when fall is supposed to be here in September. Normally it's summer all the way up into mid-October. So I have been able to go, and as I've shared with y'all on several videos, the drives that I make in the evenings on my way home and where I'm stopping, I am finding quite a few things. Now I'm going to touch on something about the herbs, and I have said this again, but I guess I should say it every time I do one of these talks, is that I am most familiar with the plants that are in my area. And I believe in only using the plants that are in your area, because I think that they are there purposefully. Nothing on this earth is by accident. If you think about it, there is absolute design to our world, even to the habitats we live in, the kind of people that live in certain habitats, how we take on traits that help us to deal with the particular habitats that we live in. So I feel very strongly about only using plants that are native to my area. Now, given the fact that we have had several invasive plants, I mean, something comes from, let's just say, up north or from another country that's very different. You put it in this rich soil down here in southern middle Tennessee with as much rain. Y'all, we've gotten up to 50 inches of rain already this year. Our normal maximum is 32 inches. So we've had this humid, warm, well, hot, freaking hot is what it is, and winds, and it's a very ripe area for plants to thrive, and not only thrive but take off and take over. So I don't like to bring in anything that's not native to here. And like I said, for the things I have need of and the people around me have need of, the plants are already here. Now, then again, I have talked about this before, but I'm going to go into it again. Okay, so let's talk about something specific to your needs. I'm going to use my urinary tract infection. Okay, so I have found goldenrod. It is plentiful. It is bountiful. It is on every corner I turn. And it is here for numerous uses, but it has specifically aided me tremendously with my urinary health. Why would I go looking for other plants that do the same thing? Pause. Purposefully. Why? That's like I don't even know something to compare that to, that kind of behavior to. If a thing is sufficient unto itself and does the action you require, why do you go and add things to it? So with that, now I know many of you want to sell herbs and have a lot of medicinals and a large apothecary type setup. But like I showed with one of my videos about all the supplements that I have bought and gathered and piled up, they were redundant. One or two of those things covered a wealth of issues. So why do I want to compound that? If I have dandelion and the things that dandelion is used for, it does, and I have it. Why do you search out other things, especially things that are not native to your area? I get a lot of messages, a lot of videos sent to me. I've already told y'all I don't watch other people's videos because I don't want to be influenced and I don't want to take from them. They have their own styles and their own methods and their own ways of doing things, and I don't want that to color what I do. And also about these other plants. Well, okay, if I'm sent, 3 or 4 different plants, but I've shown that it's like with the wild lettuce. I mean, it covers such a wealth of things that why would I look for something else? With the wild lettuce, the pain relief that I get from it, I have a wonderful friend. She was there when I was born. She was my mother's best friend. And my natural mother died when I was 6. And throughout my life, Margaret has been my lifeline to the very few memories that I have of my mother. Well, at her age now, she's in a wheelchair. And about a week ago, I was taking her some wild lettuce decoction. And when I got there, she was just frantic. Well, her daughter was in the emergency room. Her stomach was distended. She was in horrific pain. It turns out she had an ovarian cyst that weighed 10 pounds. They had to remove it, remove the ovary, and it had displaced some of her other organs. So she's, and all of that was benign. Nothing was cancerous or anything like that. So in the time frame after she left the hospital, she was in tremendous pain. And so Margaret drove her over some wild lettuce, and she was relieved of her pain. Now, I found that out today because I stopped by her house because I found one nicely shaped wild lettuce plant on the side of the road, and she and her husband had been having a hard time identifying. So I just pulled that joker up. Yes, I included the roots because I wanted them to see the whole plant. Now they're going to process that plant, but this is the way I could show them pulling the leaves, and I could show them how the plant grows in the top of it, that's the pyramid shape, and the blooms. They could see the blooms up close and how they're very distinctive. And then pulling those leaves, that sap was just pouring. Now I have seen a few on the sides of the roads. But while I've been sick, I just can't get over in there, cut them down, bring them home, process them. I can't. I need to take care of my health right now. So I did that today, but she was so proud. She was so proud that wild lettuce helped her daughter. And as her organs moved back into the cavities where it had been pushed out of, she's going to have pain. So So that was why her husband wanted to find plants close to the house, and I may try to get over there tomorrow and we'll go back on their farm. They have about 20 acres of good wooded land and pasture, so we'll go looking for some more. And then the seed heads, I am going to give them some seed, and we're going to designate an area of their yard where these plants are going to grow, and they're going to gain a lot of benefit from it. So all the things that I've covered in my videos about the chemical substances that are in the wild lettuce that relieve a myriad of symptoms and illnesses. Why do I want to look for a different pain reliever? There's a dramatic pause right there, purposefully. Why? If I have that, that is sufficient unto me. Now, if you don't have it, yes, you're going to look for other things that will relieve that. And God, I don't want to sound like a southern preacher, but here I go. God has provided that for us bountifully everywhere. So I encourage y'all to make this simple. As I've gotten older, I've learned, stop complicating stuff. Make it simple. Make it easy. It gets too hard when you get to a certain age. Keep it simple. So keep your top 10 list of go-to herbs. Every herbalist has their go-to herbs. There's a top 10 favorite list. I promise you. You go up to any one of them, say, what's your favorite herb? List it right now. And they've got a favorite one. So in that, I want y'all to do the same thing. As you're learning, as y'all are going out and foraging for yourself, as you're gaining this knowledge and the books that I have listed, and you're learning how to do these processes yourself, I want you to still keep it simple. This doesn't have to be hard. We want stuff for pain. We want stuff for upper respiratory. We want stuff for our digestive tracts. We want stuff for muscles. We want stuff for spasms. And we want stuff for our kidneys. And we want stuff to build immunity and to aid in our mental acuity. And when I listed that right there, I could think of 2 or 3 herbs for every single one of those. Now on mental acuity, all those herbs are illegal. I cannot express enough. You know, I've discussed that before. As long as something's illegal, I'm not touching it. It's not worth losing my license over. And it's not worth me not obeying the law. Because I will. I do obey the law. I even wear a stupid seatbelt. God. How come the government gets to tell me what I do in my own flipping car? I don't know. I fumed about that forever. Wouldn't wear a seatbelt. But when I got my security license, I have to obey the law, or even a small infraction can get my license removed from me. So I encourage you to obey the law. It's not hard. And as far as mental acuity goes, there are exercises to do puzzles, balance on one foot while reading a book aloud and holding one arm out to the side. That is one of the exercises that I have done to build the synapses function and the dendrites to keep my brain sharp. So there's an exercise to do. Everything else, I can think of one herb that took care of each one of those things. And I have each and every one of those herbs. Now, where you are, there are different plants growing. Now, Middle Tennessee is peculiar in that it was hit by a meteor in the middle of the state and made a depression. We've got flatlands on the west, and we've got